Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Spotlight Gulf Coast is partnered with William Carey University and sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, Ray Brandt Auto Group, and the Butch Ostelet Foundation.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of our show right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Our newest sponsor is actually who we're going to be talking about today, the Butch Ostelet Foundation Fund, and we have the Executive Director, Laura Lacoste. And Laura, welcome back with a new hat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's always rewarding to see somebody as they start learning to wear more and more hats in life, but I've known you for the last couple of years, and it seems like our worlds are intertwining.
Definitely.
With the Lighthouse Academy that we'll talk about.
You seem to be wearing all the same hats, or you're probably wearing a lot more than I am, but several
well,
of the same ones as I am.
A lot of people do that. They get out involved in the community, and you gave me one of the best compliments in the world. You said, it wasn't until you got out in the community, you just realized what the value of it was, and it is. By getting out in the community, you grow your business, you get to know your community, and tell us about that, how that transition's been.
Well, and you think you're busy. I mean, I've been busy a long time. I've got two boys, 16 and 13. And so if you would have told me 2 or 3 years ago that I would be serving on the dyslexia board of the dyslexia school and on the Baco board and now the executive director of the Butch Ostelet Foundation, I would have had a really good laugh. But one seems to have opened up the door into the next, and they've all, meshed together really well with what I'm doing in real estate.
Right.
And it's just, I've enjoyed the work so much because these are causes that I'm passionate about, and I've been put in these positions where I can actually affect change and see a difference being made in areas that I know is needed, and it's it's very rewarding. So it's, I'm on TV and in magazines and things that I don't even like having my picture taken. So that's been an interesting part of this, but it comes along with it, and it's worth it for, all of the good that I've been able to be a part of.
Well, and, we both served on the Lighthouse board. I probably came about a year before you, and I remember meeting you at the Island View, and I think we were doing some pictures and maybe a Christmas thank you or something for that night. But I try to get involved in these boards, and I try to make as many meetings and meet as many people. And when you find a board where you see people as passionate as they are at Lighthouse, you stick with it. Yeah. And again, just since you've been on the board, and then, Leslie coming on the board, you see the energy level, just come up. But it took those people like Dobie Shield and some of those to get it going. Tracy, that is always so passionate. But then y'all come together, and before you know it, I'm watching you, the light bulb go off, ask you to come on our board, you get to meet Butch. So it's not by accident. These are, the natural way it should be. People hang around people that have similar likes.
Absolutely. And what do they say? You're like the 5 people that you spend the most time around. And I feel like the people I'm spending the most time around, or spending a lot of time around, or the people on the boards, and the people like Tracy Berry and Toast, she and I have become like really like sisters, really, because we're so passionate about the same things. And it has sort of come full circle because, like you said, I started by being asked to be on that board at the dyslexia school, and it was a no-brainer. My son had gone there. I love them all so much. The teachers there are amazing. They're so passionate about these kids and about what they're doing. So there was no hesitation when they asked me to come on board there, and I did. And like you said, Leslie Kelly and Dobie and everyone on the board is just very active, very passionate about it, very hands-on.
Right.
And so that led to eventually, when I remember when you called me about joining the Baco board, I was like, oh Lord, I really didn't think I had time.
I don't have time to do that.
I was like, I probably
said, you can't afford not to.
Yeah, well, that voice in my head said that too. Like, I can't say no to this. Like, the Baco Foundation is something I'd watched for years on social media and different events. And I'd gone to a couple of things. So I knew the impact. I knew how far reaching that was, and I thought there's no way I can say no to this, but oh my gosh, how can I say yes? But I on what do they say, winging a prayer,
right,
I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm being asked for a reason, which led to our meeting when we had the retreat. We kept being put into subgroups, and I'd seen Butch and met him many times at different events and things that he had hosted. But we were put into this subgroup, and he said, I really want to know more about the dyslexia school. And then, people probably regret when they ask me about the dyslexia school, because I could go on and on and on for days, which I'm sure I did. But he was very interested in it, and actually recently has revealed that he is pretty certain that he was dyslexic as a child, and he struggled in many ways, which he fits the mold for that, because look how successful he's been. And most of them are entrepreneurs. They are outside of the box creative thinkers, and he was able to do something great and big with his life, many things. And so it's come full circle to him asking me to be the executive director of his foundation, which is his focus now that he has retired from the car business.
I know that, and again, we're going to talk a lot about Butch, because Butch has just been one of the unique people that I've ever met in my life. What a giving heart. I remember the day that I met him, we were doing the ribbon cutting in Pascagoula and for the dealership. And he was so excited. He wanted to talk to me before he did the ribbon cutting about his salvation experience. And so we went in the back, and he talked to me for 45 minutes. Everybody was waiting outside. He said, forget that. He was so excited because he knew my story about having gone through the home of grace. And he was so excited about telling his own story. And then I got to meet this man, and it was amazing how many causes that he had done, because I had not heard of him. And I said, you need to talk about this. I said, it's important that you talk about it. And I remember a couple years ago, we were able to get him on the cover of South Mississippi Living magazine. That was very intentional. Made him the chairman of the Jolly. That was intentional.
Yes. And
we're trying to get out there because it's a story that needs to be told. It's a story that doesn't need to just be quietly.
Absolutely.
Because it can motivate others. And we've talked about that.
And that's something that inspires me about him, because for all that he's been blessed with, his focus really seems to be to encourage others, to bless others in the way that he does. And I think so much of what he has done has been anonymous. I mean, you always see his name on the sponsorships at various events, but there's so much people don't know that he's done, like you said. So he's all about, hey, let's use my name and get more people to give.
Right. And I think that's the exciting times that are coming. It's almost like the timing's out of our hands. It's happening as we're going. It's just perfect. And we talked about that in the book of Genesis. It's actually a biblical, one of the first verses of the Bible is, I will bless you so you can bless others.
Yes.
And, that is really what Butch Ocelot has done.
Yeah.
And I look up to him as a mentor. I look at him, and he looks at me as a mentor.
Yeah.
We've been talking and meeting every day. So we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about this foundation and maybe what some of the causes we want to help and how we're going to work together. So y'all don't touch that remote. We're talking with Laura Lacoste. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about the Butch Ocelot Foundation Fund, which is a fund under the Baco McCarty Foundation, or the Baco Foundation. I'm always out there. I get so excited about the things that we're doing, and when I met somebody like Butch who has similar sort of likes, I just it's just one of those things that you see an entire community, the light bulb going off, and Butch does have that infectious style, but he's the real deal. I mean, he prays every morning. That's the first thing he wants to do is pray
every morning.
So
when I come to the Gulfport office, he has a devotional that. So if you're in his office on any morning, you're going to do the devotional with him and sort of have like a little Bible study to kick the day off.
Right.
And it's a great way to start the day. I think part of it is Butch is the oldest of 10 kids, and then number 10 was a special needs child, his youngest brother, special needs, Freddie. And they were just, you know, he adored Freddie and really was close with him. And Freddie passed away in recent years. But I think when you're the oldest of 10 kids, you're used to giving.
Right.
You have to be. You're used to sharing and you're used to giving. And I think one of the things we have in common is I'm the second oldest of 7. So not quite the same, but I also came from a family where I have very philanthropic parents. My dad's probably gives away more than he keeps, and he's all about it. So
Right.
I've grown up with this idea of the blessings should flow through us. None of it actually belongs to us. It's all belongs to God.
Right.
And when we're lucky enough to be blessed with something, it's because he's entrusting us to bless others. So I feel like that was something that spoke to me with Butch, because he has been so blessed and he blesses so many. And I was like, okay, it just felt at home to me, because that was just something I've watched growing up and something I've tried to emulate. Like with the dyslexia school, I helped them,
Right.
you know, I was their agent, and
Right.
I helped them to find the school that they purchased, and then I donated back my commission.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a single mom. That would have been great commission to
Right,
keep, but
right.
it felt like God put it on my heart that was what I was supposed to do with that money. And I feel like the blessings continue to come back tenfold. So
Oh, they
if
do.
more people understood that and didn't hold on so tightly, and just let the blessings flow, whether you're donating time, money, land, you know, there's all sorts of things, insurance even, that I've learned that people can donate to help these causes right here at home.
Now, I know Butch is very passionate about certain causes. I've known him for the last couple of years. Home of Grace obviously comes to mind. We've been out to the Home of Grace so many times. Every time that I say that I'm going out there talking, he says, I'm going to be there, and he is. You know, the Home of Grace, he's involved with this church. He's involved with scholarships, and we've been able to present a lot of scholarships, but it was never anything really strategic. Now we're trying to get a little more focused, and it isn't the easiest thing in the world to just start something with an idea and just
Right.
go with it. And so I get excited because now I can sort of, you know, help.
Yeah, I feel like his focus seems to be he wants this to be sustainable. He
Right.
wants this to not be a few years of giving. He wants
Right.
this to go on and on and on. And so he wants to bring others on board to compound the giving so that this can sustain itself for years to come and help the coast, you know, overall make the coast the best place that it can be. And you can't really be your best when you have underserved populations and needs that are going unmet. So what we're really planning to do is highlight different needs each year. You know, it may be a few things. It may be one right now. We're highly focused on the Lighthouse
Right.
Academy for Dyslexia, because it's the only dyslexia school on the entire coast. It serves all of the counties. As soon as we got in this bigger building, we immediately filled it up and are at capacity. So, you know, that need, we just need to get that school to where, you know, the right place where all of the kids who need that help can get it. And also there's a lot of kids who can't afford a private school that have dyslexia. So we're constantly trying to raise money and do things to make sure those kids get the instruction they need. It's just a 3-year program. And after 3 years, when they go through this very specific dyslexia-centered program, they can go back to their schools because they're
Right.
either fully or mostly remediated at that point. Also, Home of Grace definitely has a big part of his heart, and that's something he will continue to focus on. So education and, you know, just overall wellness.
Right. And I think, yes, anytime we can give scholarships, and of course we were able to present a $10,000 check to the Gulfport Rotary that,
Yes.
you know, was Butch. But we also had put together a very good advisory board over here in the Gulfport market. It helped us get out into the community. But there's so many things that we do, and you and I have been kicking around some ideas just even this morning, because when you have a reputation like Butch, when we first came over here, I'll never forget this, you know, and Courtney Anderson, of course, is very connected over here in Gulfport. We sat in his office and we just wrote out names.
Yeah.
And we didn't call, he did. And so he got off the phone, put him
Yeah.
down for 5. Put him
Yeah.
down. And I talked to some of them because I hadn't met the gentleman yet, the people yet. Brandon Elliott, Ivan Spinner, they both said, why do you say no to, you know, the big O?
Right, you can.
And so it was just, he crossed it off. And that's probably where you start. You know, you write down those close friends like anything else, get them to the table and even ask for their suggestions because they may, you know.
Absolutely.
And
Or just talking about it with different people. I did that after we had the dyslexia board retreat.
Right.
And we talked about part of our mission was to educate others who didn't know about problems of dyslexia. And I made a list and I just started talking to different people. And, you know, some of those things didn't turn into donations, but that turned into some people talking to other people, and some
Right.
really great connections were made in the community that we're trying to bring together statewide. So just talking about it can.
I think, you know, and I said this to you this morning, the more I think about it, it keeps resonating in my mind. And when someone calls me, I don't have a program to sustain. I may be directing them somewhere else. And I don't care where you give. I just think that everybody should be called to give.
Yes.
And it may be money, it may be time, it may be resources. There's so many ways that you can give to make a stronger, you know, Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Right.
And we have the most generous, certainly, you know, community that you could find on the planet. My brother
Yes.
comes down here and he goes, I've never seen anything like this. Up in Washington,
Yeah.
D.C., you don't go to your neighbor.
I think that
and
Mississippi is, aren't we known to be like the
We
most
are.
philanthropic?
We
So,
are, and we've been through a lot down here, but we've also come together down here and, you know, worked our way through it. And there's so many good causes that people just need to know about. And that's why
Exactly.
I'm so excited about this, because, again, I think this is going to be the start of us even getting more out into this community. I remember when I started this 20-something years ago, you know, I had to keep saying over and again, the Bacon Foundation. No, it's not Paul McCartney's foundation. It's anything just to get the name out there.
Right.
Now you're starting, you know, people are, like you said, we have a great reputation. We have a great fund here that we can, you know, even take to the next level. So we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. I want to talk a little bit more. I know we've talked about the dyslexia school, but that I know, and with Freddie, I mean, we've had this conversation so many times over the years, way before he was running you. It's almost like this is supposed to happen. So we're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back, everyone. I'm talking with Laura Lacoste, Executive Director of the Butch Oslet Foundation. And Laura, you know, when you're starting something from scratch, you've got to get out so many things, but you also have to put together a website. You put together, you know, marketing materials, get business cards. You know, with Butch having come out of the, you know, a location that he's probably been at for 40 years.
Right, forever.
Everybody knows where he's at. It's exciting that he got an office. It keeps him, you know, out in the community. And, you know, I know you're new to all this, but you're also a quick learner, and you're going to
there's a lot of
probably
logistics.
find some little shortcuts.
I'm trying, and I've definitely got been able to hire some great people to help along the way. Catherine Sweatman is doing stuff with us for the website and things like that. But with Butch, because of the name recognition and because, you know, he retired from the car dealership and Jay Allen bought the Ford dealership, that was newsworthy. So we immediately, before we really even had our office completed, we had to hurry up and get the furniture in there because they wanted to come out and interview him. And we were having different news stations and come and interview and want to know what's next. So he was very excited and talking about the foundation. So I've been, you know, scrambling to get my feet under me to get the website there and the things there to answer the calls and the questions. So, but there is a lot of interest already. I've had a lot of outreach for people wanting to partner with us and, or, you know, telling me about different needs around the community. So it's one of those get thrown in the deep end and sink or swim. So
well, and we're going to come up with some ideas to how we can maybe have some informational type events, some fundraising type of events. I mean, it's a process.
Absolutely.
But, you know, again, none of us are getting any younger either. We got to, you know, get this thing going, and we're gonna certainly accomplish that. This TV show is one of those. You know, I think that with Butch stepping up and wanting to stay on TV, he's always been known, you know, in TV. And I said, Butch, this is the perfect opportunity that we can do this on a regular basis. And we've been talking about how we could have a special segment that we're not thinking about right now. And that's what you want. Just having, you know, the young lady who's an intern. There's people watching this. They want to get involved with this. But there's ways to reach the masses. But really, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of interface between one-on-one, just one-on-one. And if you have a great reputation, eventually those people want to be a part of that. They catch that enthusiasm. Because everybody wants to be part of a winner. And I don't think either one of us have that, mediocrity in our mind.
Well, we definitely have a lot of drive. So,
well, and that's good. That's a good thing to have. And, you're speaking of Jonathan Allen, Jonathan, when he bought the dealership, first thing he asked, would you do a TV commercial with me?
Yes.
So, he's been so generous and, so humble. He gets up at Rotary, on Thursday and thanks everybody for the support all these years. And it meant a lot to Butch to sell to him. I know he always
thinks the world of Jonathan.
He does,
so.
and he has those younger leaders that he's mentored, and he can call them on the phone, and they're there.
Yes,
they're going to be there for him.
That's I think so great too is the example that's being set. Like you said, the student that came in, that is interested in TV, but also a lot of what we're doing, what we're talking about, we need our kids to see what we're doing and. Let that be something they become comfortable with, and that's a part of their life, so they understand the model and the need for giving back.
Right. And when you're traveling, you get to travel the coast like I do. A lot of people have to stay in the same community all the time, but the coast has different personalities to it, but it all comes together as a gumbo, and it's good.
Yes.
I mean, it really is, and I honestly believe that I think that you're going to be playing a major part of this whole thing coming together, because I think we've lived, this one coast idea needs to happen. And there's no better time than right now to work together, for the betterment of this coast. Now, website should be coming out here, be live here in the next couple of weeks.
In the next couple of weeks. I mean, it should be live right now. It's just a landing page and, letting people know it's coming, it's being worked on, and it's coming in each month or, every so often we'll be highlighting the different areas of need that we hope that people will jump in and compound the giving and focus on. Because like you said, the one coast concept is so important because there are a lot of needs around the coast that people don't know about. And there's some great needs nationally where people are donating to American Cancer and things like that. But some of those organizations are like MD Anderson, great causes, but they have millions and billions maybe. But we have got some hunger issues at home and dyslexic children and Home of Grace. There's so many, the Boys and Girls
Butch
Club.
and we need to, nothing's going to stop with the Baco Foundation either. Butch and I are putting on that camp with the Humane Society coming up in just late September, where we'll have the Kids of the Dream program all coming to it.
Right.
So we have some things that are already set up. He's very involved with Carter's Champions, and he's very involved with certain causes. None of that's going to change. That's what Butch does.
Right.
But there's an opportunity here to
invite
bring
more, the more the merrier in this situation.
And
certainly.
It's really going to, I think, bring this community closer together. And when you find people like this, don't ever think that it's not going noticed because, again, people like you and Leslie, when y'all come in the room, I mean, you can tell y'all are pretty drilled in. It's like y'all are pretty passionate. Tracy, Barry Ann Toes. I mean, you meet these people on the board, you don't miss it. If you do, you're in the wrong business.
Right.
So I always stop and I look at the Rock if the Rock's talking to me, and y'all are not little rocks, but y'all are certainly go-getters, and you take it. Nothing's going to change if you're going to be successful because you're passionate about everything in life like that.
And I think anyone who comes out to the dyslexia school immediately feels that. After we had the Ocean Springs Chamber monthly breakfast there, I had a lot of people from my office come out and from various places, people that I knew that were just really moved by Tracy. When she gets up and talks about the school, you can't not be moved when you really understand how intense this is and what the mission is. And even Butch, that was another time he went to another breakfast where he really heard the story of the school, and it's a story that needs a movie. It's amazing. So thanks to that, he's now sponsored 2 rooms. The capital campaign they have to raise money allows people to sponsor rooms and name them. So that's what Rain Residential and myself named the lobby. Butch sponsored 2 rooms, one in the name of Freddie, his little brother, an area out front, outside, we're going to call Freddie's Zen Zone. Right. So hopefully we'll get other people to come follow along and help out with things like that.
Well, I know we will. And again, by the time this airs, we'll be doing Renaissance Runway and, you get on that runway and we'll have a huge crowd there, and it'll be another way that we can get out these calls. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you.
We appreciate everybody's support of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi. Until next time, this is Todd Trenchard saying so long, and may God bless.